All right, Aftershocks TV, and we've got a packed house on this one tonight, folks. It's packed with a lot of names you guys are going to be very familiar with. The band is Patriarchs in Black. It's a new band. It's spearheaded by a few long-term veterans in the world of metal who are as active as ever these days. To my right there, on my right, I guess, on the screen there, on guitar, the man most of you know from Hades and Nonfiction, and more recently, Vessel of Light, and of course, Cassius King, Mr. Dan Lorenzo. Dan, what's up? How are you, man?
How are you, man? I'm psyched. I've never, all three of us together. I love it.
Awesome, man.
And you, man.
Yeah. All right, first time we're all in a room together.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. All right. Well, down to the left there, we've got a guy who's played on gazillion bands, most notably the almighty Typo Negative, and he's also the drummer for Danzig for the last 20 years. He's currently behind the kit for Quiet Riot, Mr. Johnny Kelly. What's up, Johnny?
What's up, guys?
How are you? Doing good, man. And last but not least, the man many of you know is the former lead vocalist for COC, who sang on arguably the band's best album, Blind, my favorite at least. And he's also fronted Leadfoot and most recently King Hitter. We got Mr. Karl Agell with us. Karl, thanks as well for coming on, man. How are you?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, we'll start off, guys. Patriarchs in Black. I guess the first question is, how did this project come about? I mean, Dan, I did read that you wrote, the music, and you've been crazy busy the last 2 to 5 years, putting out 3 albums with Vessel of Light, Cassius King last year, and now with Patriarchs. So these songs, are they that we're going to be hearing, and of course, including the Demon of Regret, which is the new track that just got released. Were these songs that you kind of had put together? With the rest of the songs you've been working on over the years, did you have these sort of in the bank, or was this something that, you had come up with that was a little bit different and maybe more specific in mind when you were writing these that you thought maybe didn't fit either Vessel of Light or Cassius King? Because the sound definitely is, it coincides with what you normally do, obviously your signature doom metal sound with your other bands.
Yeah, so I just basically write, and I can't have preconceived notions. Like people have told me for years, can you write another album like the first Hades album? And I just can't do it. And if I tried to do it, it would sound, not good. So I just write. And Ron Lipnicki, who's my drummer for Vessel of Light and Cassius King, he's just in a million cover bands. Unlike Johnny, Ron kind of is at home, not on tour. He's just in like 35 cover bands. So it's always tough to get him to come track. But when he does, I love the guy. But I basically gave him a dozen songs for the new Cassius King album that I'm kind of doing simultaneously with Patriarchs in Black. And then I just kept writing and writing. I'm like, man, this song is so good, but I don't want to knock off any other song from Cassius King. I'm like, Johnny, we email each other. I don't even know how we originally started talking, but Bobby Blitz, I kind of brought it up to Blitz. I said, I'm thinking of asking Johnny Kelly. He's like, Johnny is the perfect drummer for you. I'm like, really? So I sent Johnny a song or two, and he always emails me back, what do you think is this direction? And I'm like, it's perfect. Like, it sounds like he was made to play my riffs, I kind of, when I write, I hear the whole song in my head, but I never want to tell the drummer or the singer what I'm hearing. I want them to have, creative control and do whatever they want at first. And Johnny sent me something, one of the first songs. I was like, this is just perfect, and I told Blitz, like, yo, you're fucking right. This guy's on it, And then, I didn't know how to get a hold of Karl. And a writer from Kentucky named Patrick, he basically introduced us, and I sent the same song to Karl. I believe I think it already had Johnny's drums on it. And we were waiting for, Karl down south, they moved a little slower than us northerners, right? And, I didn't know what the hell Karl was doing, man. I'm like, is he going to be doing this? And
I'm a southerner now.
You're not a true southerner. So John, I was thinking, like, I think it was a Tuesday night. I was thinking, like, man, it'd be really fun to have a bunch of different singers sing on this. And I didn't want to say it to Johnny. And the very next day, Johnny's like, we're just going to have fun with this. Why don't we have a bunch of different singers? I'm like, awesome. And then Karl fucked everything up by writing the most incredible melody line and lyrics to Demon of Regret. I'm like, fuck, we should have just had Karl do the whole record, damn it. But we already asked all these other singers. So that's my story.
You gotta fire the rest of those bums.
No.
Very cool, man.
So Karl is going to sing more songs than anybody else on the record.
Okay. Very cool.
Unless
Yeah,
Johnny
you know,
puts the kibosh on that.
What's that?
Unless Johnny Kelly puts the kibosh on that. I have Karl singing more songs.
No, no, not at all. No, Karl did a great. Karl crushed Demon of Regret. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you do. I don't know what songs you're singing next, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, got a couple in the works.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Well, Karl, I mean, tell us what you've been up to. I know musically over the last 5 years or so. Last time we heard from you was King Hero, which I thought was some great stuff, some great material. So obviously now getting involved with Dan and Johnny too. This is a little bit different too. This style of music, I know, than what you've done previously. A little bit. It's a little got more.
I've been involved in a whole bunch of different stuff since the Corrosion days. Obviously, I did 3 Leadfoot records. There was several lineup changes, the usual good times with that, and label changes. Initially we were on Roadrunner and got a big push, and then it seemed like they pivoted and we lost the deal. So it was just one album with them, and it was reissued by the Music Cartel, and again a couple lineup changes, 2 more albums. And then, there was kind of a quiet period, and then got King Hitter together, and yet again, some really fun lineup changes, and it was kind of became unsustainable, so it was only that 5-song EP, which I'm really proud of. I like that EP a lot, but it just wasn't going to work out in the long run. And intermingled with all that was some COC blind touring when Reed was still above ground and able to carve out some time between Corrosion proper. And we did some small stuff and then did a bigger tour in 2015, going out with the guys from ex-Sepultura, Cavalier Conspiracy guys, and Death Angel. So that was awesome.
Okay.
And also I did Teenage Time Killers with Dave Grohl playing bass.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And a bunch of other heavy hitters singing different songs. So that was kind of similar to this Patriarchs of Black thing, where the notion of having a bunch of different vocals and stuff. But I'm excited by the fact that I might be able to get a couple more songs out of it too. So sure. Yeah. So and last but not least, I got a new band called Lie Heavy that is with a couple of the Leadfoot guys and a different drummer named JD Dennis, kind of a more of alt country fame, like with the Backsliders, but he's originally like a total heavy hard rock metal drummer from back in the day. But he's played in a million bands. And then Graham Fry, who used to be in Confessor, is the guitar player, and Char Gwynn, who actually went to high school with Dan, I believe. He's from Jersey.
What's the guy's name?
TR Gwynn. He played, I don't know his band names from back in the day, but
I cut a lot of classes, Karl. I didn't go to a lot of high school. I was studying more than I was going the last 2 years.
In fact, you owe him money. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm pretty good about that.
Anyways, I'm rambling on and on, but the new project's Lie Heavy is my current band, and we're in pre-production right now. Actually hitting the studio tomorrow to start cutting some vocals, and that's going to be. We haven't shot the deal yet. I don't know what we're going to do with that, but we have about 20 songs written. So.
Wow, fantastic! All right,
yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Anyways, that's what I got.
All right, excellent.
Just a couple of things. Just a couple of things.
Very cool. Well, I mean, just talking about the sound now of the band. I mean, Dan and Johnny, you guys are both obviously, you're long-term veterans in the New York and New Jersey metal scene, especially when it comes to this style of music. Obviously, Johnny with Typo Negative, Pale Horse, Named Death, Seventh Void, Silver Tomb, a ton of bands like this style. Dan, obviously, you've been doing it just as long as well with Nonfiction, and now with Vesselite and Cassius King. And the thing is, you guys were playing this kind of music at a time, especially in the 90s there, when there weren't many people that were playing this kind of stuff. I mean, the younger metal fans weren't listening to or being influenced much, if at all, by that sort of classic Black Sabbath, influenced sound, which is why I remember thinking, like, when those Nativity in Black releases, came out in the 90s, I thought they were so important just to kind of teach some of these kids and remind them that this is where this music really started with. And really, in the end, it always ends with it as well. But obviously, with Johnny, with Typo Negative, I mean, you guys probably had to be the biggest band at the time that were playing and pushing this type of music, as most of the popular metal bands, at that time were either alternative, based, or had a lot of the urban and rap influences as well. Obviously with Systems too, there in Brooklyn, you had, you guys, you had early Life Agony and Piston, and, even hardcore bands like Biohazard had a very strong element of that Sabbath sound. These days, I do see a lot of the Generation Z, I guess, fans, if you call them that, musicians, they are starting to play, or they have been playing this kind of music. The doom, metals thing is really kind of very, popular right now. And, it's stuff that obviously you guys have been doing for years, but, it helps me just sometimes think, like, it really, if it wasn't for guys like you and veterans like yourselves doing it then and continuing to play it and promote the style of music, I mean, there's really no telling if the sound would still be as relevant as it is. So, Johnny, I mean, do you think by doing what you guys did, in terms of not only playing this kind of metal throughout, say, Typo Negative's career, but also celebrating it by, being on the Nativity in Black record, as well as just, never really compromising your sound, do you think that it had at least something to do with the way this music now is continued to be as relevant and influential as it is on these younger fans and musicians?
That's hard to say, really, because it's hard for me to see as in terms of like what impact Typo Negative had on today's music. Like the generation after us. I mean, there's some things that I hear that are, it's pretty obvious, but for the most part, it's hard to say. Like, I never saw the band as being, that accomplished where we would be the ones influencing other people.
Okay.
We were just doing our thing, and it wasn't really like, we weren't really paying attention to what was going on. And like we knew where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that we were carrying the torch for that.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know, like I'm really out of touch with the generation after me. So I really don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last I heard, they were eating Tide Pods.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, I mean, I just think, like, during those times, obviously it was, there wasn't, people, a lot of the hard rock and metal fans were, there wasn't really this type of sound. Like when I talk to, like, I've been talking to a lot of these younger bands, recently, there's this one band, for instance, that's from out in Long Island called Restless Spirit. And, their sound, and the guy mentioned me, with Typo Negative is one of their biggest influences. So I think, and maybe inadvertently, it really did have a, effect, whether you realize it or not, but I really think inadvertently, I think it did. Just to kind of talk a little bit about now you guys recording this record. Dan, I remember talking to you last year, and you were saying about how, even though everything you're doing, that you and Nathan were recording, I know for Vessel of Light, you guys being in different geographical locations, like the three you guys are, that, you were terrible when it came to technology, but I mean, you've got to be a pro at it now with all these albums you've been doing.
No.
But no,
no, not even close.
Hey.
I thought I was going to quit my job a few months ago because I had learned how to use an Excel form, and that was like, you know what? I've been here for 6 years. Maybe I better step out. And I was just petrified. But the only thing I'm doing is, like these guys know how to record in their house. I have no idea how to do that. My other buddies, they record in their house. I drive up half an hour north. I go to Pomona, and I pay my buddy J-Rod. I pay him to record me, and I do the whole album, like the last 4 albums, 3 Vessel of Light, Cassius King, and the Patriarchs in Black stuff. I just record everything to a click track, and then I send it to the other musicians in the band, So I don't have to know how to do anything. Like if you ask me to convert something into an MP3 file, I have no idea how to do any of that. No clue. I received electricity 3 weeks ago, so think about that. Poor guy.
That's right.
this is the way, like to operate in this day and age. You have to be familiar with being able to do stuff like that. I've been, for the last year, I've been tracking live drums, getting different mics, and, I'm doing it myself. So I'm trying to do it, learning as I go. And I know what I want to hear. I just don't know how to get there. But I have a lot of friends that I lean on for production tips and tricks and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And so now it's, do a track, just send it wherever. I did I did a track for somebody 2 weeks ago, and they're in the UK, so I just sent it, send the files. WeTransfer's the main artery for everything, because you could send big files on it.
Oh yeah.
And but it's it's still not so much to keep current, but it's still like, you're still learning something.
Sure.
So that's cool. It's cool to be learning, learning another skill.
Well, you guys think, I mean, you guys, obviously you're all veterans. You've been, used to do it the old fashioned way, get together in a studio and go for it. I mean, has now doing everything, with all the new technology and doing everything, sending files and click tracks and everything, has it had, whether positive or negative, has it had really effect on the music yourself, you think, or do you find that the convenience of it really makes it better, at least in terms of maybe you don't feel sort of, I guess, maybe pressurized a bit to be able to perform maybe the way you want to on the spot when you're in the studio together, and maybe you've got some tensions going on. You don't have those eyes on you when you're going through that whole creative process. So do you guys find, I mean, that maybe it's, I guess, is it more beneficial these days, or is it more, not so much beneficial, but does it have, I guess, do you think it has a negative or maybe a positive effect on how the music comes out doing it this way compared to the old-fashioned way? Let's call
I'll say positive about it. I remember Hades, back then, late 80s, if I would write a song, like just say Opinionate from the second Hades album, and we didn't have any way to I didn't have an 8-track. So I would play the riff, and my drummer would sit behind the kit and just go like this, just play it again and again, and that was how he learned my riffs. I had to play them 1,000 times, and it was so tedious for me because I get bored really easily from repetition. And Hades would play we'd have 3 rehearsals a week, even when we weren't, doing a lot of. Even when we were playing shows. So it was just it killed it for me. It killed the excitement for me. I always remember thinking man, I love this song, but now I played it. I'd go on tour, and it's just over and over and over. It just, to me, this makes it more exciting, I would say.
Okay.
For me,
I think it's the convenience of being able to make something, that actually is sonically, usable, that you could do, fiddling around on your laptop while I work on this stuff while I'm watching South Park, and
well, that explains it. No.
Yeah, that's where I get my inspiration. No, but what it does lack, it lacks that spontaneity that you have, when you're working with a band in a room, and you're you're playing off of each other and stuff like that. That's not there. But it still gives me, today I was in the studio for a few hours, and I'm just just going over stuff and just trying different things. I would try something, run through the song, try it, see how it sounds. Maybe there was something in there that I wasn't expecting that could be cool, and then I could build on it. Maybe take my drums in a different direction. And so it has it, and it's instant where I could just work on it myself, like what you were saying before, Dan, where you had to play your riff over and over for the drummer. Now I could learn the song, I could learn it, I could just sit there and just hit repeat, just hit the space bar and I could just keep working on it myself without annoying everybody else. And you know, but it, you know, the takeaway from that is like you don't have that spontaneity working with the you know, like, you know, to sit there and work with the bass player, or like, you know, like to be able to, you know, like inspire like the guitar player to maybe like, you know, like come up with a different take on that riff or something. And you know, everything's more what's the word I'm looking for? Premeditated. You know, it's like, well, no, that's the underlying current of it. It's all garbage anyway. So,
I mean, you know, it's you kind of just have to do what you have to do, and
yeah,
we live in wacky times, obviously, but you know, if you have the will and you want to get something done, you find a way to do it, whether it's you know,
that's it.
Together or doing what we're doing right here, which is working really well for us so far. So it's just kind of happening, and it doesn't feel forced. It feels really organic to me, even though it is over time and distance, you know, but it works. It's just, look, if the music's good, you find a way to pour your heart and soul into it and go for it, you know? Sure. No matter what.
And you know, maybe these musicians who just couldn't work like this, but I really haven't encountered that with the people I'm picking. It's making things easier actually for me.
Right. This is the day and age that we live in now. You have to learn how to, you have to adapt, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, bad enough, like, you know, it's like, all right, you're playing dinosaur music, but you don't have to go through life entirely like a dinosaur.
Did you see the movie Step Brothers, Johnny? Remember what happens when they stopped acting like dinosaurs? At the end, the father said, "Go back to being dinosaurs."
I see a singer. I see a drum set.
Exactly.
Yep. Prestige worldwide. Don't lose your dinosaur.
That was the original name.
Exactly, Johnny.
Yeah.
What's that, Carl?
That was the original name of this project, actually, but you know.
Awesome. Well, I mean, you guys, you know, I mean, each one of you recently have reached, you know, pretty significant, you know, milestones within your musical careers, you know, over the last year. I know Karl, this past November marked the 30th anniversary for Blind.
Yeah, great.
Which, like I said, it you know, even though it's not maybe the album's, you know, biggest, it's not the band's biggest album commercially or in terms of sales. I think it's definitely the biggest in terms of the impact it's had, you know, in metal. I'm from people I know. I mean, that's all, you know, Blind's always right there at the top. So for you, I mean, Karl, how important is it, you know, for you to, you know, remain, you know, active in music, even if it is every, you know, 5 or 6 years or so that you put something out? Is it one of those things where, you know, just when you think you might have enough of it, there's always something that's going to keep pulling you back into the fray, you know, just to stay engaged in some capacity, you know, especially considering you do have a very unique and original voice that people, you know, recognize and are influenced by.
Well, I just find that, you know, for me, this is like my, you know, my religion, so to speak, or whatever. When I feel most connected to the universe, most in harmony with myself is when I'm, you know, creating music. And fortunately for me, I don't seem to be, I seem to be improving as a singer. I can totally nail all the stuff from 30 years ago, and I think I sing it better now than I did. And yeah, my mother was busting my chops recently. I was like, yeah, you know, I think I'm singing better than I ever had. She said, well, it's because you look more like an opera singer now. I'm like, oh, thanks. Thanks, Mom. No, but you know, seriously, it's I'm always kind of doing something, and you know, but then again, you know, some of us got to pay the bills, and we have our day gig, and that's what we do. And we get caught up in that in real life and the mortgage, and
life gets in the way of things sometimes.
Yeah, man, exactly. But I can't ever quit, really, you know. And this opportunity came my way, and you know, and Dan contacted me, and it was easy. We actually played a gig together with Leadfoot, and that was up in Connecticut back in what was it, like 3 years ago, something like that?
Before COVID, so probably 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago, exactly. Yeah, you're right, 3 years ago, and that was really cool. And I hadn't seen him forever, you know, and we reconnected a little bit, and then I'm just stoked he reached out to me, man, for this, and here we are. You know, I love what I'm hearing. It's really, really easy to write vocals and lyrics to. It's awesome stuff. So it's when I feel my best is when I'm doing the rock and roll. And this is a great project. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And Johnny, for you, I know this past summer, it marked the 25th anniversary for October Rust. Obviously, no question that was Typo Negative's most successful record to date. And it was your first with the band too. And the success of that record and the band in general, obviously, has played a part in you being able to obviously continue your career post Typo Negative as a member of a lot of these very well legendary established bands that you've been playing with. So I mean, for you, even though it's got to be obviously extremely rewarding to extend your career in music the way you have, and you make a good living doing so, but by playing with these established artists, how important is it though for you to personally to be able to still create new music, sort of in the same realm that you did with Typo Negative, with bands like Silver Tomb, and now with Patriarchs and Black, and not just just kind of go out with the established bands and just use music basically as a job?
Well, it's I guess that's part of why I get involved with the bands instead of just staying with like the classic whatever and I still have to be involved in it somehow, and a lot of it for me is just I just really love playing. I love doing what I do. I'm surprised that I'm at this age still doing it. It's more of a shock than anything, because I never, if you would have told me like 25 years ago that, hey, people would still be talking about Typo Negative, I would have laughed at you. It's like the most unrealistic thing that I could have ever imagined. And, other than that, I'm just doing the same thing that I always did. I've been doing the same thing since I was a teenager, going around playing different bands, meeting different people. I take it as an opportunity to just be a better player. If I kept on doing the same exact thing, that's all my playing would be. That would have been it. And I wouldn't have been able to I wouldn't have had the ability to adapt to to do different things, which after Peter passed away, that's what I had to do.
Sure.
And I like doing different things because there's no point in, trying to, do the same thing in a bunch of, different bands. It was like for instance, like when Kenny and I from Typo, when we put out the Seventh Void record, and a lot of Typo fans were like, oh, well, doesn't sound like Typo. That's the whole fucking point. If I wanted to play music like Typo, I'm in Typo, or just play that kind of music with Typo Negative. And so it was like it was an opportunity to do something different, to show to express myself in a different way. But I mean, there are some common denominators in it and stuff, but it's something, that I would still be doing it even if it wasn't something that I was doing for a living.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome, man. Great. And Dan, for you, I know this year marks 35 years since the release of Resistant Success, the debut by Hades. And here it is, 35 years later, and you're putting out more music than you've ever had before. You're as active as ever releasing your music. So, I mean, for one, looking back, did you ever think you'd still be doing this today? And what is it that keeps you going, especially at this pace that you're going these days, man?
Yeah, I never thought I'd be doing it this long for sure. I mean, I think, and I was really happy like 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. I did the record with Blitz, The Cursed Room Full of Sinners in 2007. And then I literally just played basketball for 10 years, 9 years. I didn't really I don't think I even wrote any new songs or even tried to. And I was like at the happiest point in my life. I was telling somebody this is the happiest point of my life, And then I discovered Nathan Opposition and Ancient Wisdom. And I'm like, man, these fucking guys are awesome. And I reached out to Nathan, and, I drove out to Cleveland twice. We got a little record deal. And ever since then, I'm just so back into it. Like I was happy without music, but I'm so much even happier now. Like I can't even compare the level of happiness. So it's like weird for me. Like everybody hates getting older, but my life just keeps getting better and better every year. I have no problem getting older. I love it. I embrace it.
I'm not a fan.
Not so much the
I'm not.
looks.
No, I'm not. I'm not a fan of getting older. No.
Right, not the looks, but everything else.
Fuck gravity, right? You know.
Yeah. It's just, I wish I could. A part of me could wish I could go back and just be a little more mellow about some of the things I stressed out about. But I wanted to tell you what else is 30 years ago, Matt. This knucklehead below me, he jumped up on stage with Nonfiction at Snookers in Raleigh, North Carolina, was it?
Yeah, Raleigh.
Yeah, Snowblind.
Oh wow!
So I never, if you would have told me that 30 years ago, Karl and I are gonna, 30 years later, we're gonna write our first song together, I'd be like, that makes no sense. We'll be fucking old men, you know. But I don't feel like an old man. I might look like one, Johnny, but I don't feel like it, you know.
I feel like one.
Well, you're a drummer, of course.
I feel like one. I look like one.
No.
No, actually, rock and roll keeps me young. It does.
Exactly.
Without a doubt.
I'm with you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, the band is Patriarchs in Black. The song is Demon of Regret. And so, guys, where should everyone go check out, the song and just find out more information on the band once more songs start coming out? I guess that goes to Dan, as Johnny's pointing up there. So
we make money from Bandcamp, and then if you want to just listen on Spotify. You know, if you want to give us a 99 cents, go to iTunes. You know, they'll take their cut. But we're going to do a full record with MDD Records. We're going to have a few different singers, but Karl is definitely going to be singing some more songs more than anybody else. My buddy John Pasco is going in the studio soon to sing a song. Some of Johnny's friends, because Johnny, he knows
there's bass tracks in my my Dropbox.
Oh, Rob from Blackwater Rising is going to sing a song, but Karl really blew me away so much. Karl has 4 songs in his pocket. Johnny's just got to finish drummers, but we're going to have a full-length record out, hopefully the end of the summer, depending on when we hand it in, on MDD Records, which is a label in Germany, good label. They got 1 million bands, and we actually got like 4 different record offers for this album. So
wow,
things are moving. And then we're on Instagram. I just started the Instagram a few weeks ago, Patriarchs in Black, and hopefully things are going to keep moving.
Very cool. All right, very cool.
Dan is definitely the social media, mass media guy.
He's a machine.
Not on Facebook, though, just on Instagram. I don't know how to do Facebook.
You're the technology guy, Dan. See, it's coming along, man.
Just for Instagram. I use it for my job. Karl and I actually have some videos on TikTok where we're dancing with belly shirts, which nobody seems to be watching.
Oh, yeah.
Where is this? Where is... Oh, here it is. All right, here we go.
I thought you were looking for our TikTok videos of Karl and I dancing.
No, I'm looking for this bass track that was sent to me right that I logged into this podcast and then got a text message from Eric saying that he sent the bass track via Dropbox, and then I couldn't find it. I had to find the shared folder in the Dropbox. A little, it takes me a few minutes, but well, I have it, so now I'll slide into the session.
Johnny, we signed off the air 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. See how it? Yeah.
Oh,
he sent this like 2 days ago. I'm just figuring out how to get it. No, he did. He sent it right at the beginning of the podcast.
Awesome.
Oh, while I got you, I have Eddie Heedles from Pale Horse doing a couple of solos on that song. What key? What do you tune to? What do you tune to? C sharp?
Key of C. It would be in the key of C, but we're really still on the air with Matt.
Yeah, I know. It's fine.
Okay.
It's all good.
Getting some behind the scenes stuff.
Gotta get work done. Work's got to get done. This is called multitasking.
That's right.
There you go. All right.
Getting things done while chatting.
Awesome. All right. Well, Patriarchs in Black. Once again, Demon of Regret is the new song. Everyone can go check it out now on all streaming platforms. And guys, Dan, Johnny, Carl, thank you guys once again for coming
Thanks,
on,
thank you.
and looking forward to hearing more music from you guys.
Thanks so much, Matt.
Thank you,
I really
guys.
appreciate it, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
See you guys.